Hi everyone, I would like to welcome you all to this presentation on shear stress and shear stress distribution diagram in beams, which comes under the topic strength of materials for mechanical engineers. Let us move on to the topic. What is shear stress in beam? If you slightly trace back your mind to shear force diagram and bending moment diagram, we have seen that when a part of beam is subjected to a constant bending moment and zero shear force, then there will be only bending stress in the beam. We have seen that earlier. The shear stress will be zero as shear stress is formula wise is equal to shear force divided by area. We know that as shear force is zero, the shear stress will also be zero. But in actual practice, that is not the condition. A beam is subjected to bending moment which varies from section to section. It can be a rectangular section, it can be a triangular section, or it can be a circular section. Whatever be the section, the shear force acting on the beam is not zero. It also varies from section to section. Due to these shear force, the beam will be subjected to shear stresses. These shear stresses will be acting across transverse section of the beam. You understand that? It is acting on the transverse section of the beam. These transverse shear stress, which is produced, will create a complementary horizontal shear stresses, which will be acting longitudinal layer of the beam. Which will be acting on the longitudinal layer of the beam. To make it even clear, I will give this explanation with the help of a diagram. If you look at this, diagram, you can see a beam, right? A simply supported beam is considered. Section AB and section CD. This small portion is selected, that is zoomed over here, which is enlarged view. It is given in an enlarged view. So AB and CD is a small portion of dx. This is a small portion of dx. It is acted upon by load of UDL throughout its length. So a bending moment is created, right? A bending moment is created, that is M. And if you look at this side, for this portion of dx, this bending moment is added upon by a small moment, that is dm, that is m plus dm. The total bending moment acting across this section, that is ABCD, is m plus dm. Similarly, the stress is also is added upon by a small deviation of stress, that is d sigma, that is sigma plus d sigma, right? So as I told you in the previous explanation, that the shear stress is acting in the transverse direction, sorry, it is acting in the transverse direction. There is nothing but the load is always acting in the transverse direction, right? Whenever you take a beam, the load is acting in a transverse direction, right? So the shear stress is also acting in the transverse direction. That is, shear stress is also acting in the transverse direction, which will create a horizontal shear stresses. Which will create a complementary horizontal shear stresses, which will act along the longitudinal layers of the beam. These are all the longitudinal layers of the beam. If you also see this diagram, they are given an example like a cylindrical layer which is running longitudinally in the beam, right? So In this section, they have derived a formula for finding out the shear stress throughout the section. For finding out the shear stress throughout the section. If you take the cut section on any part of the beam, if you take cut section on any part of the beam, at that particular cut section, you can view the shear stress, how the shear stress is acting at that particular section. So for that, they have derived a formula, which I am going to show it now. That it is shear stress is equal to force into area into y bar divided by I into B. What is the explanation for these notations? F is the shear force. F is the shear force. A is the area above the section at which we are supposed to find out the shear stress. So in this case, we will look at the previous slide. They have shown a cut section view. This cut section is separately shown in the next slide. That this is the cut section. See, this is the cut section, right? We are completely going to deal only with this cut section area, right? This particular beam is of rectangular section. So, for this particular beam is of rectangular section, and this beam has a neutral axis passing through its center. When you consider the x-axis, right, passing through the center of the beam, right, since it is symmetrical. Even if you can put a y-axis, it will pass in this way. So for y-axis, this is going to be the neutral axis, and for x-axis, this is going to be the neutral axis, right? So what is neutral axis? If you look at this particular picture, if you look at this particular picture here, there is a beam which is simply supported, is acted upon by a load. The beam is going to bend in this way. The axis which is passing through the center of the beam is called as the neutral axis, which is not going to experience any strain in it. Suppose if the length of the beam is some 100 mm, when the load is acting downwards, as it's shown in this diagram, the top layer is going to get compressed. The bottom layer is going to get expanded. That is, it is coming under tension, right? This 100 in this case of top layer is going to reduce to some 80 or something. Length is going to reduce to 80 or something, and at the bottom layer the length is going to elongate to some 120 or something, right? But this neutral axis that is passing through the center of the beam is going to remain as 100 itself. Not going to experience any strain at all, right? So that is called as the neutral axis. So in this case, for the symmetrical sections, the neutral axis will be passing through the center of the section, right? In this case, F is shear force, as we have already seen. Here we are going to find the shear stress at this particular junction EF. So this particular junction EF is at a distance of y1 from the neutral axis. Is at a distance of y1 from the neutral axis. At neutral axis, y is 0. At neutral axis, y1 is 0. At neutral axis, y1 is 0. From neutral axis, it keep on increasing up to the end of this layer, right? So, at a particular distance of y1, from the neutral axis, we are going to find out the shear stress, right? For that, area denotes the area above the section which we are supposed to find out the shear stress. That is, we are going to find out the shear stress at this junction. A is the area of this section above that particular junction. This entire area we are supposed to find out, right? That is A. And y bar is the distance of centroid of that area above the section from the neutral axis. This shaded portion has a centroid, right? That distance from the neutral axis is y bar, right? Then I is the moment of inertia of the entire section. When coming to the I, it is a moment of inertia for this entire section. It is not for this half of the section. I is the moment of inertia for this entire section, right? B is the width of the section, right? At this junction, what is the width? That is B. Right? So this is depth and this is width, right? As per the rectangular cross section, this is the depth and this is the width, right? Now we will see an example problem that will give you an idea how a shear stress is found at a particular junction in a rectangular cross section of a beam. Coming to the example, a wooden beam of 100 mm wide and 150 mm deep is simply supported over a span of 4 meters. If shear force at the section of the beam is 4500 Newton, find the shear stress at a distance of 25 mm above the neutral axis, right? They have given the dimension of the cross section of a rectangular beam. This is the cross section of the rectangular beam. It has a dimension of 100 mm width and 150 mm depth. The span is not that much important. In some cases, a span will be useful, right? For finding out the shear stress, span is least bothered. If the shear force at the section of the beam is 4500 Newton, definitely we need the shear force because tau is equal to F into A into y bar divided by I into B. So F is definitely needed. If the shear stress at the distance of 25 mm above the neutral axis, find the shear stress. They have told us to find the shear stress at a distance of 25 mm from the neutral axis, that is y1. They have given y1 to be 25 mm, right? So at this junction, we are supposed to find at this particular junction, we are supposed to find out the shear stress. So let us look at the solution of the problem. See, they have given the width, they have given the depth, they have given the shear force. They asked us to find out the shear stress, that is tau, at a distance of 25 mm above the neutral axis. We know the formula to be tau is equal to F into A into y bar divided by I into B. Area of the beam. As I told you, area above the section which we are supposed to find out the shear stress, right? we are supposed to find out the shear stress at this junction, right? At this junction, that is at a 25 mm above the neutral axis. So what is the area of left out above this junction? What is the area left out above the junction? That is, if this total depth is 150, neutral axis always lies at the symmetrical portion of this section, that is splitting into two halves, 75 mm above and 75 mm below. So this is 75 mm, half of it 75. If you subtract this 25 from the 75, you will get the area above this particular junction, that is nothing but 50 mm, right? So when it comes to area, it is depth into width. So we know the depth of the shaded portion is 50 and width of the shaded portion is 100. So we got the area to be 100 into 50. So that gives you 500 millimeter square. Now we are supposed to find out the y bar, right? So y bar is, it is the shaded portion, that is the area above this particular junction, that is 25 mm above the neutral axis. This particular area, it has a CG. CG always lies at the center point. CG always lies at the center point of that particular shaded area. So if this is 50, CG will lie in 25, right? 25. Already we know that distance from the neutral axis is 25. This 25 plus this distance of 25 gives you 50, right? So that is distance of CG of the area from the neutral axis 25 plus 50 divided by 2, that is 25, gives you the 50, right? Moment of inertia of the total section, that is I. We already know that each and every cross section has its moment of inertia I, right? A rectangle has a different cross moment of inertia, circle has a different moment of inertia, triangle has a different moment of inertia. So coming to the rectangle, the moment of inertia I is equal to BD cube by 12. B is the width, D is the depth. So we know the width to be 100, depth to be 150. So 100 into 150 cube divided by 12 gives you the value of 28125,000 mm power 4. So B is the actual width of the section at a distance y1 from the neutral axis, right? So B is the actual width. Width is 100. It is not going to change throughout the section. If you take at any point in this section, the width is not going to change. So width remains the same as 100 even at a distance of 25 from the neutral axis. At this junction also, the width is 100. Now we know all the values. Substituting in the formula, tau is equal to force is 4500 Newton given in the question. We have found out the area to be 5000 into y bar. We have found out 50. I we have found out, and B is given as 100. So if you do all the calculation, you will get tau to be 0.4 Newton per mm square, right? So what is the use of finding out this shear stress? What is the use of finding out this shear stress? What is shear? Shear is a force which is going to break the beam. A force is going to break the beam. Shearing. It is going to cut the beam into two halves, right? So shear stress. This shear stress is opposing force or the resisting force created for the force applied, right? So this shear stress, what is the pattern of shear stress acting along the section of this beam? What is the pattern of shear stress acting along the section of the beam, right? If you look at this section, we have found out the shear stress at this particular junction to be 0.4, right? At this junction, we have found out the shear stress to be 0.4. Am I right? We have found out the shear stress to be 0.4. What will be the shear stress at this junction? What will be the shear stress at this junction? What will be the shear stress at this junction? And what will be the shear stress at this junction? And if you wish to calculate shear stress at each and every layer above the neutral axis and below the neutral axis, you will get a value. You will get a value for tau. And when you go to this extreme end, what will be the shear stress? When you go to this extreme end, what will be the shear stress? The shear stress will be 0, because we don't have any area above this. So area will be 0, and we cannot also have a y bar above this particular layer. Y bar is also 0. So the entire tau is 0. So always keep it in mind, shear stress is 0 at the extreme layer of any section. Whether it can be a rectangular section, it can be a circular section, it can be a triangular section. Shear stress at the extreme layer is always 0. You take on either side of the neutral axis, even at the bottom layer, the shear stress is going to be 0. The shear stress is going to be 0, right? And as I told you, this shear stress might vary. This shear stress might vary along the horizontal layers, right? Along the horizontal layers, this shear stress is going to vary. And where will be the shear stress occurring to be the maximum thing? Where will be the shear stress occurring to be the maximum thing? That will be always the neutral axis. Shear stress will always be maximum only at the neutral axis. For any kind of section, the shear stress will be maximum at the neutral axis. But we have one exception. We have one exception. Triangular section alone will not have the maximum shear stress at the neutral axis. Keep it in mind. Triangular section alone will not have a maximum shear stress at the neutral axis. For that, we will have a separate video. I will tell you the reason why the shear stress is not maximum for the triangular section in the neutral axis. Since in this particular shear stress and shear stress distribution diagram in the beam, we are going to concentrate mainly on I section. I section is generally composed of this triangular sections only. So we will first I section is mainly composed of the rectangular section only. So we will understand the rectangular section, and later when I find time, I will post a video on the triangular section. Why the triangular section doesn't have this shear stress to be the maximum of the neutral axis, right? Okay. Now, if you want to draw shear stress distribution diagram, draw a reference line for this depth, right? Draw a reference line, and this denotes the neutral axis, right? At this particular junction, we found that tau to be 0.4, right? We found that tau to be 0.4. And along this particular point, since this is 0, since at this layer it is going to be 0, obviously when you increase this y1 along this direction, your shear stress is going to get reduced, right? If you have to achieve 0 at this point, obviously the shear stress is going to decrease, right? So at each and every layer you are going to have a decreased shear stress, right? Decreased shear stress, and same is repeated below the neutral axis also. Since this is a symmetrical section, whatever is occurring on the top side of the neutral axis, same is replicated on the other side of the neutral axis also, right? Unless it is not symmetrical, we are least bothered about what is happening, right? Now if you connect all these points, you will get the shear stress distribution diagram. So this is the point where you are going to get the maximum shear stress. This is the point where you are going to get the maximum shear stress, and it corresponds to what? It corresponds to neutral axis. So the neutral axis has the maximum shear stress value, right? I hope it is clear for you people. I gave you this problem to be a small example to understand how the shear stress is calculated in a problem, and how this shear stress is going to vary in a section of a rectangular cross section, and how we are supposed to draw a shear stress distribution diagram. This is replicated in I section beam. So when it comes to I section beam, it is slightly a complicated nature, which will be easy to understand if you know this particular section where I gave you the explanation for this shear stress and shear stress distribution diagram. This will give you an essence of knowledge when you go and solve a I section beam, right? In the next video I will explain you about the I section beams, how to draw shears, how to calculate shear stress, shear stresses and shear stress distribution diagram, and how to draw shear stress distribution diagram for a I section beam.